everybody. Hello, happy Monday.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday.
So here we are.
Yes.
Can we see us? Can we see us on Facebook?
Let's see. I'm going to refresh just to make sure we are live.
I tell you, I have never used Facebook so much since the coronavirus. I've spent more time looking at Facebook, posted on Facebook than I've ever done.
Oh,
but I have to say, it's all been good. It's all been good.
Okay, so I do see. Here it is. All right. I'm going to. I will first share it, and then this way people can see that we are.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because it's got a link up there, and that's the right one, isn't it?
Yes. And there probably are people live, but I can't see yet.
I can see one.
So sorry, everybody. If you are tuning in with us, welcome. We're just taking a moment to share this and get ourselves situated, and then we can see everyone's comments. Okay.
Share to. Ooh.
There we go. I got it shared.
Yeah. Hi. There's people coming. I can't see who they are. Hello. Hello, people.
Let's see.
I've got an eye. It's like an eye thing. It's got a number next to it.
Yes, I do see that, but I cannot see who they are. So if you are here and you are able to hear us and see us okay, if you just want to drop a comment, just saying hello and let us know that you're here, that would be wonderful. And it would help us make sure that before we really get going, we are able to be heard and seen. Oh, we do have Annette that says hello to both of us. So welcome, Annette. I don't know if I said your name right. I do apologize if I didn't.
No, that's Annetta.
Annetta?
That's my friend Annetta.
Oh, that's a beautiful name, Annetta. I like it like that.
Yeah. In Danish, when you get an E like that, you have to say it.
Oh.
So it's like an A.
Okay. Oh, I like that though. Beautiful name. Welcome. We also have Han. Is it Hannah? Because there's
Hannah.
the E. Hannah. Okay. Look at that. You learn something new every day. Welcome.
Well, I have to say, however I say it, it's wrong. Don't listen to me. Whenever I say it, Thomas says, is that with an A or an E? Because like if I say A or E to a Danish person, they never know what I mean, and vice versa. So it's just,
it's so confusing.
I've just given up, really.
Yeah. I think I would too.
It works in the end.
Annetta does say that she can see and hear us okay. So wonderful. And it says that we have 5 people so far tuning in.
Yeah, I actually forgot. I mean, I know we mentioned it last week, but I forgot to sort of mention it on my Facebook post or whatever.
Me too. I'm sorry. It's been an interesting couple of days. So
yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing a bit about it.
Yeah, it's going to get even more interesting.
Most people watch it on the playback anyway. But it's really nice to have live people.
It really is. It does, because the interaction is really fun. Yeah. So so far, nothing new yet. So how was your weekend, Rachel? And everybody tuning in, how was your weekend?
Yeah, it's been busy, really, really busy. And I suppose partly just because like the energies are coming in so strong at the moment. So I actually spent not a huge amount of time, but an amount of time doing work this weekend because I was just so inspired. And if I don't do it when that inspiration comes through, it tends to go flat. So there was that, and there's Benji's gone back to school.
Wow. When did he start back? Today or last week?
He started last Thursday. They weren't ready Wednesday. And then Thursday night he threw up.
Oh.
So he didn't go Friday.
His energies are really, really intense right now.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about, because he was fine. He was home all the next day and he was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, things are really, people are wondering about what's happening in Denmark, because not so many people have had the virus, we don't think, and we'll find out in
That's
3
wonderful.
or 4 weeks. We'll really know how things are going, because maybe the kids are going back to school and then a lot of us are suddenly going to get ill. We don't know. So, all the time we were like locked down, I was a lot more happy.
Mm-hmm.
Anxiety levels have gone up a lot now.
Yeah.
So I've been like using all my anxiety reducing tools. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about, actually.
Oh, that's wonderful.
All the things I don't know if other people are finding this as well, but I have never done so much meditation, yoga, EFT. It's like I'm suddenly doing all those things that I always meant to.
Isn't that interesting?
It's very... I mean, I do these things, but
it's hard when we don't. It's hard when we don't have the time. Time management versus priority management in a world that is hustle bustle, go go go, and I really think that's what's happening with on a big picture perspective, this whole coronavirus really happening to slow us down, to teach us, as we talked about before, to come back to one and really begin to come back to Mother Earth too. So not only to self, but to Earth. So that's happening.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, things haven't slowed down, because I've had, Benji home, me and Thomas. I've had my husband working from home. He's a university lecturer. He's been teaching classes online and supervising students. We've had our special needs son at home with us for 5 weeks. So things have actually speeded up for me, because I've been trying to deal with everything and Benji and all at the same time. And I think that's why I've been doing the yoga. But it's not just that. It's that. And because, these things help you stay balanced, don't they?
They do.
It's just the light that's coming in. It's the incredible amount of light that's coming in. I just feel like somehow like a switch has gone on in me somewhere. And I don't know if other people are feeling this, because I'm sure it's not just me. I mean, it could just be coincidence, but I feel like I've suddenly become aligned in some way. And
I feel it as well. And I was talking about it, I don't remember when, maybe a couple of weeks ago on my Moon Day video, it came up, and I felt like I was seeing like all of these little lights within all of us just suddenly start turning on, and I heard coming online. And I really felt like that was us being aligned or tuned into the new Earth template. That's really, it's like everybody's like ping, 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 ping. Everybody's little lights are coming on, But to touch on really quickly what you just said, as a mother, this is supposed to be time for us to slow it down, but it is difficult, because you find people like yourself. One of my other partners, Lindsay, she is, she works from home as a teacher right now. And also she's got a special needs son. And she's also got a younger son and a puppy and her husband home. And it makes, how do you slow down? And a conversation that we actually had was, she was trying to find the rhythm and the balance between work life and play. She was just finding that balance. And I think the more challenging it becomes, the more the necessity to find the balance. It's almost like you're being pushed through, what is it that my beautiful friend Jillian is always reminding me about? The pressure, the diamond forms under pressure. So it's like the more they turn up the heat on you, it's more the alchemy that's necessary to push you into this way, So it does make it difficult, and I completely understand that. But then it's just, okay, how do I find this time and pull away from this a little bit and take that time for me to just go do my yoga for 15 minutes if that's all you get, you know.
I really love that, Jamie. So like we're turning into diamonds, and we're going ping, 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 ping into the new earth grid. I mean, that really works. That really works for me. I can really see that going
and
on.
while we're supposed to be calming down, what's happening is, and it's 111 right now. I'm just going to point that out. I'm very big with the whole, you know that about me, the numbers, and how everything aligns. Numbers to me are also like triggers, confirmations, activations. And so 111, you have those. One is all about new beginnings and rebirth. And then you have it by the power of 3, which is the number of creation, the Trinity. And so the creational process is not easy. You know, think about women who are, you know, they're pregnant, you know, they become containers for creation. And that 9 months is a very trying period, you know, and then labor and, you know, the birth process is beautiful, but think about the pain that is endured just to bring forth creation. So I feel really like it's all about us. They turn up the heat. And I say they, I mean like, you know, the divine, you know, those powers that be, the universe, turns up the heat to really push us harder. It's like the life lessons, you know, we talk about life lessons when you choose your path or your contracts before you incarnate. You get these, okay, so this is how I imagine in my head. I'm not saying this is accurate. You get this life lesson. Okay, well, what's your life lesson that you want to learn here? Well, when I'm going in this time, I want to learn self-love. Okay, so we're going to stick you in every single possible situation that challenges your ability to love yourself. And so it's difficult, you know, so I feel like that's why it is feeling so difficult right now, because we're really in that push you out of your comfort zone, breaking limitations, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. There's a rune called Naud. It sort of looks like a line going down with a slash across it, and that's the need rune, and it is exactly like what you're talking about.
I see that rune in my mind a lot.
Yeah.
And
it's connected to the Norns as well, so that could also be why. But yeah, I have a friend who's on the same like Nordic shamanism course as me, and we do sessions with each other over Skype, and we did one for the beginning of the year, I think in January, and that was, we pulled one, we did like something called a soul map reading, and then we pulled a rune like for the year ahead, and I pulled Naud.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, it was for me, but now the year has gone on, I've realized that it's more of a collective thing, because it sort of has, well, it has lots of meanings, but one of them is necessity is the mother of invention.
Oh, I like that.
Which is sort of what you're saying, isn't it? It's like when you have to pull all this stuff out of yourself, like when the SHIT has hit the fan.
Exactly. Wow. I love that you shared that. Thank you, because I see it. I think I've told you this before. When I meditate and connect, I see runes. And I don't have a lot of, at least in this lifetime, like I work with them, but when I'm called to, it's not all the time. And there's definitely so much more I need to learn about that. But I see runes and bind runes specifically a lot. And so that is one I've always just associated with like a meridian or something, because I didn't understand why I saw it all the time. But so thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. I've been doing some workshops recently, learning how to make bind runes and rune sigils against COVID-19.
Oh, that's perfect. Ooh, you're definitely share when you got all that done.
Yeah, I'm gonna start. So my page, I've got ascension runes. I started it not that long ago, and I've put up a little post tonight. So, you know, I have these periods where I'm working a lot, and then I have periods where I can stop and I can study a bit. Or I just have periods where I just like, I've got to read some books now.
Yeah, there goes that balance, right? We work a little bit, play a little bit, me a little bit, you know?
Yeah. So I was reading one today, and it's quite a sort of a studious book. And I was reading this bit, and he's this guy, what's his name? Thomas Carlson. He's writing about two like runologists. One was born in 1800 and something, and the other one was born in 1500 and something. So both Swedish. And he's writing all this stuff, and I'm thinking, oh, this is great. I get really excited when I'm reading these books. And then he says there was this big like Nordic revival, like Old Norse revival in Sweden, sort of in the 1600s. And someone wrote this book called Atlantica. And it was about Sweden's connection to Atlantis. Wow. And they were talking about, you know, not just him, there was a whole thing about the runes came from Atlantis.
Wow.
And I was just like, because when he said this about Atlantis, I was like, I'm a bit surprised. I didn't expect to find it in a book like this. You know what I mean? Because it's sort of a bit of a new age thing, we think, sort of Atlantis. And then I was reading on, and he's quoting these scholars from the, you know, 1500s, and he's like, yeah, because that's what I love about the runes. It's like they're so ancient, you can feel the power.
It's a lot like, they look a lot like light language, you know, when you see, but there's many versions and interpretations of light language depending, you know, that's very unique. But it does look like when you look at it, but it looks like I don't know if I want to say more masculine version of the light language. It does.
Oh yeah. I think that's the thing with runes, is like it has been heavily sort of a masculine sort of, not just because men are doing it, but the way it's been taught. Whereas the way I've been taught to do it, and this is what I want to start doing with ascension runes, is you learn to work them in a much more feminine way. And that's what we need to do, because I could never get it through learning, like all the things that they mean, because my brain doesn't retain information like that. It just won't. It goes in one ear and it falls out the other. So that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start doing one rune a week. And then, just doing like a 20-minute class or something. Well, it depends how long I talk for.
Well, that's fun. Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I love the runes.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a couple more people that popped in and joined us as well. So welcome, everybody.
Oh, I'm glad you can see that, because I'm not getting it up. I don't know.
Yeah, we just people saying hello. You know, Catherine and Dawn and LB, welcome. Thank you for being here. Hello. Yeah, we don't want anybody to think that we're ignoring them. It's not very easy to see the comments, but we are doing our best.
And I've made this into a podcast as well. So after each show, I'm loading it up to like a podcast. So if you want to listen to us while you're out running.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. All right. Well, so the energies this week. So I think have we maybe talked about this before? I don't know if we did. The Schumann resonance. Have you heard of that? Familiar with that? Know. So it's a bit of a theory. It's a theory based on scientific information. The Schumann resonance is based on the understanding of Earth's vibrational magnetic field or electromagnetic field. And I think that it ordinarily vibrate at about I think it was like 7 hertz or something like that, if you will. And I'm going to be a little off here with my numbers. But as above, so below, you know, as within, so without. We've got that macrocosm, microcosm there, that everything is connected. And so when Earth's electromagnetic field, it kind of spikes in frequency, you know, the frequency rises. There's something that is now being understood as the Schumann resonance. And I'm not exactly sure why they call it that. But this resonance means that we begin to feel ascension symptoms, physically, mostly physically, especially because it's earth. But also it can be felt mentally, it can be felt emotionally. You know, we can feel very tired. But usually when it's almost like a dead ringer when you start feeling all of a sudden out of whack, especially if you start noticing your children, small children, especially sensitive children, are all of a sudden like ping ponging off the walls, or they're very frustrated, having meltdowns. Animals specifically acting very unusual. I've noticed not wanting to eat. I've noticed vomiting with the dogs, like out of, and even my cats, for really no real reason. Sure enough, the Earth's magnetic frequency has, or the Schumann resonance has jumped. And it's ordinarily, I said, like something about 7. We've been gradually increasing, and weeks ago I spoke about it, and it was at like 60 or 70, and that was like the highest it had ever, it was like record breaking or something. It's up to 112 right now, hertz. So it's probably the highest, at least that, since I've been following it, and many people have been starting to record this. This is probably, it's very, very high. I think it's unusually high.
So what affects it? Well, I have read about this, but to do with something else, and I can't think what it is. But what makes it go up?
I mean,
down?
I don't know I don't know the scientific, but just intuitively and how I see it, I feel like when Earth is receiving,
I think I know what it is. It's background static from space. So I was looking for a channeling that I did the other day. I did it on Sunday. Thomas and Benji went out for a while. I was like, quick, I don't get that much time on my own now. Quick, do some channeling. And I was looking for it, and it's gone. I've got a new computer, and it's I don't know if it's Windows 10, but I don't know quite how to use it yet. And it's managed to get deleted. But one of the things that Sarah was saying was that at the moment, and I was going to ask this because I was wondering if anybody's read anything like this. At the moment, we're passing through, you know, we go through like different clouds and things in space, the galaxies, like things. We're going through this, like she called it, like an enlightenment cloud, where the energies that we're going through are making it possible for us to like connect up to like our light bodies. I mean, when she talks about it to me, she talks about integrating the higher self and the lower self, but you know, it's the same thing like with the light bodies. And she said that this is one of the most special times, like in a millennia, and that it will be like burned into our souls. So, and I'm getting like that diamond thing, you know, we're talking about that diamond thing, so that even in like future lifetimes we'll be able to like access this incredible like diamond quality. And it means that no matter how dark things are around us, we'll always be able to find the light. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that's it exactly. You know, like I said, how I see it is, we are getting these energetic upgrades, if that's the best way that I can explain them. And so Mother Earth is really ascending. She's rising in frequency as well. And so we have these like beams of energy coming through. You called it background static from outer space. But yeah, so it's like, to me, I see it as like, there are all of these portal points or entry points where, you know, like Stonehenge and all these sacred points that are all over the world that are getting kind of like energy beamed down into them. And so Mother Earth is starting to rise up. And you're exactly right. Why she is rising up is for us to embody those the higher templates or the higher light grids and matrices, and us as well along with that. So when that shift happens, humans are affected. It's funny because I was talking about it and I accidentally called it the human resonance today instead of the Schumann resonance this morning. And I thought that's one of those like Freudian slips. because humans are
Yeah.
impacted by it energetically, and it can make not just physical symptoms, like some people might experience upset stomachs, some people might experience headaches, just feeling like I get lots of rushes of heat, it feels like, and I can tell then when energy is coming in high, because I'll get all this heat flooding like to my face, which is, you know, up here through your higher chakras. But you'll notice like the kids might start being very overexcited, having meltdowns. You know, my puppy Aura today was, or not today, this whole weekend was very, Aura, she was very off the wall, unusually. And my friend's dog vomiting and just not, you know, feeling itself. And I noticed that the last time it spiked, all of my animals were not eating well and started having upset stomachs. So it just makes, it adds to the chaos, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I get the feeling though that this is upgrading us so that we get to a point where ascension symptoms and that aren't gonna affect us in the same way, because I feel like we're like downloading a new energetic matrix that means we're equipped better, so that we're actually going to be able to sort of manage all these things coming in. I did this channeling last year, like a prediction thing, and Sarah, and I read it the other day and I put it on the Sarah Facebook page, and because I was like, God, this reads really differently now the coronavirus thing has happened and we're experiencing what we're experiencing. And she said something like, you know, there is a light coming over the earth, and for the first few months of the year you're going to wonder if you're really seeing that light, because it's like you're coming out of the night, but it's there, and it's, you know, as you go into the year it's going to get brighter and brighter. And I get this feeling like, because that's what it's like, if I like look like clairvoyantly at the energy on the earth, it's like there's this dawn happening. There's so much more light there than there's ever been, and it's quite bizarre to experience that in the middle of, you know, what's going on everywhere in the fear and all the rest of it. But there it is, and it's like,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah. There's
okay,
it's pretty intense, you know. But you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head. You said a little bit ago about like that, you know, kind of like that bridge that it's almost like, I don't know if you said that or if I heard that intuitively. I'm sorry. I heard like this bridge about us, you know, going from one state to the next. You think in terms of the jump, the massive jump that really needed to occur to get us even to that point. So I feel like that's what's happening right now, is the bridge is really being built and we are being connected or turned on. And that's how we'll be able to, I guess, contain or embody even more light than before.
yeah, I think so. On some levels it'll feel easier inside us, but I think it'll take a lot of time to adjust to it. Like right now I really have trouble sleeping at night for two reasons. One is, you know, anxiety about, like, you know, like Benji's gone back to school, and you know how much coronavirus is still out there, considering very few people have been ill and all that kind of thing. And then the other thing is I'm just really excited. Like, and those two things is like, doesn't make for like getting to sleep that easily sometimes. So I've been using all my calming techniques. But Sarah gave me a new one the other day. I don't know if you've seen it yet, because it's to do with a spiral.
I saw that you
Have
shared
you seen
it?
it?
I did not get to look at it yet, so
Oh, it's really great. It's really great. You draw a spiral on a piece of paper, and then she shows you how to bless it. She blesses it for you, and then you go around it with your finger, and she takes the anxiety out of you.
Oh,
So
that is beautiful. I like that, because, you know, I'm an energy healer, and some of the work that I do, I'm given symbols to work with in people's light bodies and in their energy field. Spiral is actually one of them that I use to bring in energy, and depending sometimes to take out what's not supposed to be there. So spiral is really powerful, especially it's So it's like the energy. So when she's showing us to use that in order to help bring in that calming energy, I feel like it's an activation tool or key that's being used to actually bring in some more harmonious energy or light even. That's really interesting.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
exactly.
Love that.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 And I did that because someone wrote to me and said, does the Sarah's violet flame work well with anxiety and stuff like that? And there's been a lot, I think we were talking about it as well, the violet and the green. And I asked her, I went and sat on my spiral over the road and I asked her for that. And that's what she takes away the anxiety with the violet flame. And then the green comes through as like new life and new shoots for you to like have a fresh, so the energy gets returned to you is this like new life force. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, that's beautiful. My
oh,
ear just rang when you said that as well. So that's beautiful. Yeah, I have
yeah,
always seen her come in with that green, and it's a hard to explain green because it's not green green. It's like sometimes it's imbued with like a yellow, and then sometimes it's more of like a forest green, you know, and then the layer
yeah,
of the violet with it, which is just so beautiful.
yeah. But that's it. I sort of think of it almost like, is it chlorophyll? The stuff you get in plants is something really
Yeah,
plant
yeah.
like about it. And like plants, the green in the spring, that really bright green, it can be like that, or it can be like that darker
Mm-hmm.
green, like evergreens
Mm-hmm.
and fir trees. So it's like it's really it's all
You know what's
yeah,
interesting is, do you
plants.
remember you and I had a conversation a while back when we first started working with the spirals, and I first started working with you with Sarah's energy, and the is she Celtic goddess? I know she was Irish, maybe Airmid had started making herself known. It's Airmid, Airmid, and it was like simultaneous Sarah Airmid. And I felt like I shared something with you. She was part of the Tuatha. I don't know how you say this pronounced, the Tuatha. And she was in charge of the plant in Nature Kingdom. She worked with herbs. And there's something that's actually written, like kind of like a codex, and it's called the Codex of Airmed. And it is all about coming back to earth, coming back to plants and the herbs and the essences for healing, which is very interesting because Sarah does have this Mother Nature like feel about her at times, although it's different. It's not, you know? So I don't know. I just found that very fascinating, and there was a similarity there.
Yeah. That reminded me, someone sent me a thing about the coronavirus this week. It was a video someone had made, an English woman, saying about this book called Kitchen Medicine. It's on Amazon. I think I might get it actually. And it's like, it's got simple things that you can get in your kitchen for like healing. And this one was like to make an onion poultice. To like chop up an onion, get the juices out, put it in a tea towel, and put it on your lungs.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
not
on
on
your
your
chest.
lungs, obviously on your chest. If you've got pneumonia, and because like it's very not anti-inflammatory. What's the word I'm looking for? It fights viruses and bacteria,
Mm-hmm.
onions and garlic. She had pneumonia, and she found that it started to really, really help, like within minutes. And it was because I know there's a lot of things going around about, oh, it will help with this and help with that, and people find out they're a fake. But that one, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I like that. It will irritate a lot of people's skin, she said, but I figured that I would deal with that later because I really
Yeah,
needed to
that's
breathe.
amazing. I've heard like different folk remedies, or that you just, if somebody's ill, let's say they have a fever or something, and in the old days they would slice up an onion and just keep it in the room, because then the onion would turn black, and
Yeah,
that's how you knew it was like absorbing
yeah,
the negative energies. And people, I think, would even put them in their socks,
that's it.
slices of onions in their
Oh,
socks. And
nice.
if you think in terms of like a foot detox, how it pulls out those
Yeah,
it the different ions? Is that what it is? I don't know if I'm saying the right words, but it pulls out all the gunk and stuff. That's how the onion acts in the same fashion. So herbs and plants are coming up a lot. And again, it goes in hand with what I was saying about us being shown how to come back to earth, come back to self. So that lots of meditation is happening, lots of reflection is happening. We're doing things that are more, we're being more aware of our body, but what we're doing is we're searching for ways to heal ourselves naturally on our own, not just with plants and herbs and remedies, but also with movement like yoga, like, dancing and being outside and connecting with earth. We are looking for ways to calm even anxiety in our own. Mudras are really, really big right now. And lots of people are becoming more and more aware and wanting to work with them. And my partners and I over at Oracles of the Light, we include a mudra in our monthly newsletters every month that really goes with the theme. And just doing something very, very simple with your hands is so powerful. So
what's the mudra for this month then? Can you remember it?
I don't remember the mudra for this month off the top of my head, but one that's been coming to me all day today since you kept saying anxiety over and over again is one that's called, it's one of my favorites because it's so easy because mudras can be really simple, but they could also be really complex. And so it's the easiest one that I remember, and I give it out to my clients most frequently. It's called the Bhu Mudra, BHU, and it is targeted towards the root chakra at the base of your spine, which is connected to fear, stability, protection, anxiety. And so what it does is it's very simple. So all you do is like you're going to make a peace sign, but then actually keep your fingers together, right? So then what you do, if you're sitting down, you just put both of your hands down to your tips of the fingers are touching the floor. And if you are standing, you just do the same thing. You just stand and direct your hands down at your sides. And you just close your eyes and you just take a nice deep breath in. And when you release, you blow the breath out of your mouth. But envision all that excess energy, all that fear coming out of the tips of your fingers, being directed down into Mother Earth. And you're giving over anything that is excess and what you don't need. And then you do this 3 more times minimum, breathing in and breathing out. And you can increase the breathing for, if you want to do it 6 times, if you want to do it 9 times, however many times you feel like you need to really fully ground. But you're creating a channel with your fingers, with your awareness and your intention, and you're channeling that energy right back down into earth. And it's linking with your root chakra, which is also aligning your root back down to earth. Because when people experience anxiety, it's usually in the heart center. And this overabundance of energy creates a block in your root, which stops you from linking into earth and grounding. So all that energy just keeps rushing up to the higher chakras. So doing this, you're just pushing it all back down. And it really does bring you back down into center.
That was so grounding. Just like that pointing your fingers down is like you've just made this connection with the earth, and it's like I just felt myself go.
So that's my favorite one.
It's like you get too much up here, don't you? It's like there's too much going on.
And once you start experiencing anxiety, you're no longer really in your body. You're really all up out here, and you're no longer focused. And you are no longer able to really fully see truth because you're outside of your body floating around. Once you do that, it really brings you back down into your body, and it does enable you to really see truth and see clearly beyond. Because once you go into anxiety, you start to the fear that triggers it creates illusion in what can seem really real. So yeah, it's a perfect, really simple one. It's my favorite one for anxiety and for grounding. But there are so many more. And like I said, we had them, we gave out one this month, and I don't know why I'm just completely drawing a blank, but probably because we're supposed to work with that one.
because we need to hear this one, because that's fantastic. I'll be adding that to my toolbox. And because so that, like I said, I've been doing these things that I know I need to. I'm noticing when I'm stressed, and I'm stopping, and then I'm doing something about it. And
Yeah.
it's like, wow, look at me doing what
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
supposed to
that's
do,
wonderful.
Long, long may this continue. It's like I've been practicing to do all these things all my life. I mean, I started training to be a psychiatric nurse when I was 23. I'm be 50 this year. I've, learned so many different types of therapy. I've had so many different types of therapy. I've sat in groups and had healing, like many of us, we've done so many different types of things. And just finally, it feels like, I mean, I'm not saying I'm suddenly like perfect or anything, because that's not the point anyway, is it? Like, I don't want to be anyway. But yeah, it's like some things just
Well,
like,
what's really fascinating that I found out today actually was so I'm very cognizant of the full moon and the new moon, very, very big times, and just being very in flow with the moon cycles is so important for us as humans, because again, as above, so below. And the moon does have an incredibly huge impact on us and our emotional state. So when you understand what phase the moon is in, it helps you to understand what you should work on within yourself or within your life. We are moving into the new moon on Wednesday, and that is on the 22nd. So the new moon is a time ordinarily for rebirth, because it is the moon being reborn again. And it's all about planting new seeds of what your goals are for the coming cycle. So you think in terms of just new moon to new moon. So every month you have a new moon, every month you have a full moon. So we're moving into this time again of get ready to plant your seeds now. Work towards what you're releasing, because you know what this past month has taught you, and how can you now start to plant your seeds for what you want to see grow and nurture in your life. What do you want to create? So, however, every month or every couple of days, the moon moves into a new sign, just like every month the sun moves into a new sign. No coincidence that both the moon and the sun are going to be in the sign of Taurus on Wednesday. Now, what does Taurus represent? Taurus to me is like Mother Earth energy. It's Mother Nature. Even though it's represented by the sign of the bull, so it does come with that territory, the stubbornness planted in the earth. Taurus is also ruled by the planet Venus, which is divine love. So relationships as well, family, not just romantic, but family, friendships. So this is a time to sit with how can we nurture and reinvent our family life, our relationships, our relationship with self. So very much about divine love there. But also being that Taurus is ruled by the element of earth, it is also all about connecting with earth. Taurus loves to be amongst nature. They are literally like a little bull. I see a bull with like flowers and plants all surrounding it. So coming back to nature is going to be heightened, because now we have the sun, which is our ego, the masculine. And then we have the moon, which is our intuitive nature, our nurturing nature, more feminine. So these are both aligned in Venus with Taurus there. So plants are really coming up. We're talking about what we can do to work with healing on ourselves, or how to help ourselves. Plants and herbs are coming up really in a big, big way. People are feeling guided to start herb gardens and get outside and start planting flowers. And I myself have been intuitively hearing herbs almost on a weekly basis that want to work with my body. And it's blowing my mind, because that's never happened before. So I am drinking dandelion tea once a day. It's so you can make your own out of dandelions, but you can also go online and get like organic dandelion root and drink it in tea. It's very powerful for working against inflammation, which does come up with bronchial and congestion and things like that. But it's also a really powerful immune booster too, immunity booster. Elderberry is another one that's been coming up for me to work with. And I started hearing a word called spirulina, and I had no idea what that was. I honestly didn't. I thought it was like a fake sugar, like Splenda. And I was like, what is this word I keep hearing? And I kept forgetting to look it up. I went to the grocery store, and there was this green pressed juice. Awful color green. Doesn't look like you want this in your body. But I was drawn to it. And I said, oh, I want to get this. And my daughter was like, ew, no, don't get it. But I picked it up. I looked at the ingredients on the back, and sure enough, spirulina was the first one. And that's, it's an algae. It's a probiotic. For people who don't know, it is like a probiotic, an algae that you can actually take and ingest that works with producing good bacteria in your stomach. So really good for digestive and moving along, which I don't know, I'm talking and talking, but I feel like it's really important that we are coming back to earth. And I do feel like the astrological influences right now are promoting that. That makes sense.
I do think you get drawn towards like what you need. Mm-hmm. I mean, like all of us, not just you personally, but like all of us. And I can remember a time where I took spirulina. I've never seen it as a liquid. I guess it's probably maybe coming through in a fresher way if you get it in a liquid. I used to have it like, dried, pressed into tablets, and I got Hawaiian spirulina. Spirulina. And it's like, oh, it's got that energy. It's got that energy of Hawaii, and I really love taking it. But I don't think I knew it was a probiotic. I just knew, I got to have that green stuff.
Like I said, I've never heard of it, and just I'm suddenly hearing it, and I'm saying it out loud. And what is this? I got to look this. Is this a word? I got to look this up. Sure enough, and it's so I did see it. It's mostly in powder form, like you said, and you can get it, and you can sprinkle the powder, but you could also get it in a capsule. But I guess what they did was that's the green color. That's the weird green color that was in the drink. So, but yeah, it tasted amazing. Whatever was there.
I think you're going to turn into a herb woman.
I am. I'm taking. I actually signed up to talk about self-study and things. And now, just as we teach, we also go back to being a student again. And so I'm being guided to actually take an astro herbalism course. So it is the heaven and earth between astrology and plant medicine, and understanding disease at the astrological, and then how it links into plants, which can, if you understand the astrological association with a plant, you understand how you can work with healing someone's disease, if you will, or dis-ease, I should say.
I just got to mention something funny. I'm sorry, it's completely nothing to do with what you're talking about. But like my friend Annetta, who's watching, she said to me the other day, she said, "It was really good light. There wasn't any shadows or anything across you. I can see right now I've got a shadow there." And I'll tell you what, it's because I've got Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs sitting on my windowsill.
I can see them in the background.
My mum knitted it. My mum used to knit all the time. And it's like, this is a little dwarf's head here. They're all like peeking out of the window, because this thing about putting teddies in the windows for the kids. They're all like that, like looking at the kids can see them when they go past in the park.
Yeah. Now I see it.
Really notice now that I've got a dwarf cone on my head.
You have a dwarf on. You have a dwarf on your head. That's funny. We have quite a few.
I've got a little thing that I want to say, just so you can go, ooh, because I went swimming in the fjord this morning.
oh my goodness.
I did. Yeah. And I looked up the temperature in Fahrenheit, because otherwise I can't impress all you American people.
Yeah, because if you say Celsius, I have no idea what you're saying.
Exactly. I'll say the number and then they won't go, oh. But I went, my friend Hannah, she goes every day. And I've wanted to do this for ages, but, I've had a lot of health problems over the last few years. I just haven't felt like energetic enough. And I'm just getting to the point now, I thought, I can do it now. I'm feeling well enough. And I was like, I didn't think about it too much. I'm really good at like going into denial. So I said I would go, and then I managed to sort of shut it off into a corner of my mind where I couldn't think about it. And I've never tried anything like this. And I didn't check out the water temperature or anything. But it was like 8 to 10 degrees, which is about 46 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's cold.
It's cold. It's cold. I was thinking, it's March now. How cold can it be?
Oh, wow. Was it cold?
Yeah, it was cold. It was cold. And I'm a real comfort queen. Do you know what I mean? If I'm going to swim in the sea, I'd really like it to be the Pacific in Hawaii.
That would be ideal. Yes.
But I will go in anyway because I just love the sea. I've definitely had an incarnation as a mermaid. I just love being in the sea, and I'm crazy about dolphins and whales and all that stuff. But yeah, I went in like for a quick dip twice, and then my whole skin felt like it had like, I don't know, like little electrical shocks or pins and needles all over it. It was really, really weird. I never felt anything like that before. I've been doing this. I keep posting it on my profile. I've been doing this Metatron Life. They're doing these, like, getting you used to the energy of the coronavirus to get you see if they, like, energetically your immune system can wake up to it. And they do this thing where they go, like, imagine all of your skin and imagine like your whole immune system is waking up, like it's in your whole body, it's under your skin. And I just had this feeling of like wanting to go into this really cold water and that it would like
jolt you,
wake my immune system up. I mean,
I think that's fascinating.
I don't know if it
no,
will.
I think it's fascinating because I do feel like there are things and triggers that actually are not a coincidence. It's like divinely orchestrated for us to go in and have this like jolt and shock to our system. And it does kind of feel like what you're talking about, how with what you've already been working with, and then you felt guided to go do this and you haven't done this before. So I think that's fascinating. I really do. This whole coronavirus thing that's been happening, I'll tell you something really quickly. Following up on that, months ago, I was right before all of this got really bad. It was probably beginning of January. I'm in the grocery store and I'm shopping and I have a hand on my shopping cart. And on our shopping carts, we have like a little square rectangle advertisement area where, you know, local businesses can put their advertisings on their groceries, on the grocery checkout, shopping carts. So I'm walking and I'm checking out, I have my hand on the edge, and it happened to just be right on that little advertisement where there's the tiny, teeny little crack that opens up. Nothing can really get in there, but apparently something did, because I suddenly felt a jolt to my hand and it was unbearable. And it was the only thing that I could equate it to was a wasp, because it stung. And it just kept right on stinging and intensifying after I pulled my hand away. Now, I'm in January in the grocery store in a checkout line, and it made 0 sense that a wasp would even be out at that time. But apparently the queens stay living throughout the winter months, hiding, queens, in a dark area where they can't be disturbed until it's time for them to reemerge. So sure enough, that still hurts me to this day. And when I asked, okay, so I'm very connected to nature. I'm very connected to animals and insects, and I know everything is a message. So I kind of sat with that and I asked, you know, what is that about? Why did I get stung? And I heard activation. It was activating my DNA. And I thought, that's very strange. I'll accept it, but I need more information. Shortly after that, I started getting guided to start bringing my awareness into my cells, to start illuminating my cells with light, just envisioning like golden, restorative, or even like holy fire type of light, and filling my cells with them. And it was, the reason that I was getting it was to boost my immunity. But at this time, I had no idea why that was necessary. I didn't know anything about that. You know, nothing was coronavirus related yet that we were aware of. So all of this chain of events with building my immune system, I have to wonder why.
Yeah, and preparing your light body as well. It's like it's all one thing. This is what's happening with everybody, isn't it? It's really interesting to hear you say that. Before I forget, there's a homeopathic remedy called Apis, Apis. That years ago, Josh, my eldest, he got stung. We had a loft, and it had, you know, when you ever opened the trap, because it wasn't like a room up there, you know, it was just things stored. Dead wasps and things would always fall out, and he managed to put his hand on one of the stairs, and it was dead, but it stung him. And then he got really bad hives from it, because like Josh was really allergic. He reacted really, really badly. And Apis is good for stings. It helps your body like deal with things. So if you get some of that, that might help.
Is it something that you take internally?
Yeah.
Or you put it on?
Yeah, homeopathic remedies, they're just like you get a tablet, and like so you would take one a day.
It really got me, boy.
For a couple of days.
It kept intensifying for a while afterwards. Like it was building, the energy was building or something, the pain. Yeah. And then it really bothered me for a couple of weeks afterwards. It was really like right here. Yeah. Or you might get a cream or something, just see what you can get. But homeopathic remedies, they're the ones that they don't have any of the original substance left. They make a copy of it with water, and then they keep proving it over and over. Yeah.
But it's like, I love homeopathy, and I've had a wonderful homeopath for years in England, and I still Skype her every now and then and go, help me, Mandy, help me. It's not a big thing in Denmark, but she was the one. She said, oh, give him some Apis, Rachel, and it just went. It's like all his allergic reaction.
Great information. Thank you.
It's like
fascinating stuff.
Yeah. But so when you were saying that, I was thinking about, so you know where I live, there's all these different springs and like energy points. There's a spring in a place where there's these points just in the town where, like, in the parts where all these springs come up together, and they all have different energies. And there's one that sort of comes up in the bottom of this field, and it comes up a bit where it's like wildflowers growing, and you get loads of bees. And I went there somewhere around this time last year, or April, maybe. Yeah, it's April now, isn't it? I'm just thinking it was warmer, so maybe it was May. And I made an essence out of it. And when I was drawing the labels, because I got an urge to give it to a few people that I knew, I drew this bee on it, and it was like golden energy, and I called it the activator. And it was like, I could tell, and I was using it at the time, it was for people who were ready to go like up to the next thing, and like it was to help them like open up and embrace it, because like you say, you know, change is not easy, takes a lot of energy. But it's just when you, especially the golden and the bees, and it just sounds like the same energy.
That's
like,
amazing.
That's in that essence.
And confirmation for us both, I think. You see how we do that? We do that.
I know. That's why I love having these conversations with you, Jamie, because so much of this like happens because, well, I sort of had a bit of a lesson in this week, and it was a lesson. I wrote something on Facebook, and then someone was a bit scathing about it, and I'd shared a personal experience, but then I had to go away and like sit with it, because it had upset me so much. You know, I knew it was touching on a wound, and it was like, I need to look at this. And you know, when we were talking last week, I was saying, you know, I am naturally quite skeptical, and this person was being quite skeptical towards my experience, and I thought, has there ever been a time where I have treated myself like this? And I was like, yes, actually, I've treated myself like this a lot. Not so much now, but really badly in the past. And I was like, and when I was doing it, it seemed quite reasonable. Because we live in a society that's very skeptical and very, you know, scientific and rationalistic, and that sort of attitude is almost justified and socially acceptable to like rubbish people's intuitions or psychic impressions. And it was so clear to me that I've been doing this to myself, and that it's not okay. Actually, it's not a nice thing. I could see it when someone else was doing it to me. That's not very nice. But it almost seemed like when I was doing it to myself, that was somehow quite reasonable. And so I was like, I made a commitment to myself to really make an effort not to do that anymore. I can't remember. Why did I start
I'm not
telling
sure
you
why
this?
I get that. But I think I understand
know.
intuitively why you started that conversation, because it's always like we do this with one another. You will lead a conversation that I'm meant to talk about, and then it works itself in somehow, or I will lead the conversation that you're meant to talk about, and it weaves itself in.
That was it. That was the point I wanted to make, was we do the opposite of what I'm talking about. Our process together is we illuminate each other and empower each other. And this, when we made this, had this idea for this group, that was what I thought. I thought we all come together and we do
And that's the
this
point
for
of why we
each
started
other,
evolving into the cosmic heart.
because
yeah.
Yeah. And again, that's why I thought that was so perfect that actually happened. That person was,
But the
I'm
trigger,
sure it wasn't that
was
bad,
there,
really, but
and it was needed. And sometimes,
things,
and that's it's kind of the way that we explain like nightmare dreams. It has to feel scary or feel like it hurts your feelings in order for you to notice. Because if it didn't, you would probably push it off to the side and not really get down into dissecting. Okay, the why. Why did this happen? Why did I feel that way? And you're right. I think that it's fantastic that you are starting, because I know when we first started this too, you were like, well, I'm not really an opinionated person. I haven't been that person to put my words out there, but I feel like that's why we're here. That's what, people like you and I are we're meant to share our opinions, even as out of this world as they might seem. Definitely not going to resonate, and they might ruffle some feathers and trigger other people, because that's also why we're here, to trigger them. And they might not get that. They might just ride with that and say, this is wrong. Or it may trigger them and provoke them into thinking outside the box a little bit more. And today, I pulled cards today for myself, and throat chakra was one of them, as well as the dolphins and the whales. So I do feel like we are receiving some activations or some healing with our throat chakras to step fully into our, to express ourselves here. And crown chakra was one of them that came out with it. So what we receive, we are meant to express and communicate for others. So no coincidences at all.
No, I feel like I've had about 20 years of coming out of my throat chakra, because the reality is I am a very opinionated person. I have so many opinions, but I've not shared them, or I've kept them locked up, but I do have a lot of Libra in my chart. So, there has been that very let's just keep this nice and not ruffle any feathers. But I think it is something about coming into my crowndom now, because I'm definitely sort of moving into that phase of being a crone. And one thing, especially Danish older women, they really don't mind speaking their minds. And I've been watching them and thinking, maybe I don't want to say it exactly that way.
And there you go. And it's all about that, finding the balance of. Actually, I was telling my son that yesterday, because he was having an issue with someone in specific who was doing something to bother him, and he was really angry about it. And my son is a Taurus, by the way, and his birthday is this week in the whole Taurus sun and moon transit here is interesting. But he was having an issue, and I said, you can absolutely express yourself. He didn't want to, because he didn't want to hurt his feelings, the other person. And I said, but you know what? It's not about you saying it's not one or the other. It's not black and white. You can absolutely respect yourself by honoring your communication. You don't shut your throat chakra down. Communicate it, but you can say it with accessing your heart at the same time in a compassionate way. So finding the balance in the way that we express ourselves is important.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it sound like Danish women are awful, because I don't think that. I've got really,
to be
I've got
honest,
really lovely
there's
friends,
not a
and they're
crone that
lovely
I don't
people, and I
know
love them very
that
much.
does not freely express themselves. Not in an awful way, but they speak their minds. And I think that's because it comes from ancient memories of ancient cultures where the crone was revered as the wise one, as the ones that everyone else went to because they had life experience to share and they could speak from experience. So I think that's where it comes from. Not, and I don't see it is in a bad way. I just feel like they have something to say.
No, and I have known women like that in England, but I have to say they're more like at Findhorn or at Glastonbury, where like I grew up. I don't think that was the culture, but it made people like women bitter and sort of because you have to get those words out, otherwise, if they're repressed, they stay inside you and poison you. I think it's like I think the crones, they're the ones that will say what nobody else will say. That is too, frightened to say. And yeah, we need those words.
Yeah,
We need those.
absolutely.
We need those
Interesting
conversations.
conversations.
Is there anything else we should say before we finish today, do you think?
I feel like just touching on everything that we've discussed today, this week, maybe, people just being more aware of the energies that are going on, and what all of the energy is meant to trigger within us, what the eventual point is. And it's really for us to come back into our own power, our own truth. And how we come into our power is by recognizing that we have the ability to help ourselves. Yes, there are times we do need actual outside energies to assist us, like doctors and whatnot. But for a lot of the things that we struggle with on a day-to-day, I think it's important that we understand the way that the universe is flowing, the planets are bringing and triggering all of this stuff. To remember that at the end of the day, we are power. We are divine. We are co-creators here on Earth, and use this energy and these difficult times to not see the difficulty, but see what is it pushing you into, the pressure of the diamond. What are you being pushed into doing, and work with that energy. And the new moon, and the new moon is all about the birth, new beginnings. What do you want to see?
Oh yeah. That's what I wanted to mention before I go. So I think the new moon is Thursday for us here, because we're a little bit ahead of you. And on Thursday, I'm doing my second Dreaming the World into Being Facebook Live. And that's just where we come together as a group. Yeah, and that's why I did it on the new moon. It's for us, like, especially where we are at the moment, is to dream. It's kind of tune in to what we feel is wrong in the world. And then you tune into the polar opposite of that and say, this is what you use those emotions. This is what I'm dreaming into being. And we work with like a special like chakra point in the body. But yeah, I'm doing that on Thursday. That's Earth Ascension clearing.
Earth
so one
Ascension
of my
clearing. Okay. And we'll share that page here on Evolving into the Cosmic Heart so that you can easily find that for anybody who wants to participate. Sounds like a wonderful, wonderful, productive thing to do, harnessing this energy. Also, the 22nd, Wednesday, is Earth Day. So look at how amazing it's all lining up there, for us to really be connecting. And at the end of the day, Mother Earth is us and we are her, just as we are the cosmos and the universe. So yeah, beautiful.
I can remember hearing some really great people talk on Earth Day last year. I don't know if it was some conference or something I found, but really interesting conversations going on.
Yeah, so and that's might be also a great thing before we leave out of here, is to let everybody know that it is Earth Day on Wednesday, and every day should be Earth Day, but it brings more mindfulness. What is it that you could do with the energy of this new moon to do something productive for Mother Earth and helping some way, whether it's feeding the birds, whether it's cleaning up garbage in your neighborhood, what is it that you could do to help? Or even if it's just coming together and healing and joining in with Rachel and helping to do the polar opposite of what is coming up at this time, to birth new energy for Mother Earth and for all of us.
So, Jamie, thank you for another great conversation. And I have to admit that last week, after we finished, me and Jamie talked for another 35 minutes.
We did.
We turned it off. So, yeah, it's hard to stop us from going, but I am gonna stop now and wish you all a happy week, and we'll be back.
So blessings,
next
everybody.
Monday
Have a
at the same
lovely
time.
week, and thank you for being here.